Hello all, this is Asmita, the English Faculty of Excellence. Today I am with you all to have a discussion on one of the most important topic of English. As you can see, the topic is there popping up in the screen. You can anyway guess what I am talking about. I am talking about reading comprehension. Yes, I am talking about reading comprehension. Today we will be discussing what basically are the things that are there in comprehension, how to do the comprehension part, and of course how to deal with an unseen passage. So basically in this video we'll be speaking about what is the meaning of comprehension, what are the things that are there, what are the skills that we people basically need in order to have a very successful kind of a comprehension, and of course we will be discussing about certain tips and tricks that are there in order to have a very good and errorless kind of comprehension. So let's start our discussion about reading comprehension. Let's see what are the points that are there in order to know comprehension. So basically let's move with the definition, or what basically is the need of reading comprehension. So if you look at the definition, or if you, before going into the definition, if we look at the need of reading comprehension, we will come to know that reading comprehension helps in actually building our it helps to it is basically to let you people know, to let you people comprehend or understand what you people are reading. So basically reading comprehension helps us to understand what we are reading. This is an intentional and active part of reading and takes place before, during and after we read something. So this is something which is the very basic definition of comprehension. Comprehension or reading comprehension is something where we will be given an unseen passage, we will have to read the passage, and then we will have to answer the questions that are there just below the passage. So what is the need of the comprehension? The reading comprehension is, or what basically is there in reading comprehension is the thing that it helps us, or it is the ability to comprehend and understand what we are reading, and it is of course an active part of reading, and it of course takes place before, during and after we read something. So by being able to comprehend what we are reading, we can extract the meaning of the text and better realize what the author is trying to convey. So that is what is the aim of comprehension. What's the aim of comprehension? The aim of comprehension is to make us understand what that unknown author or that unknown passage is trying to tell us. So basically we will have to read the text, we will have to understand the text by our own self, and then of course we will have to answer the question that is there just below the passage. So let's see what is the dictionary definition of comprehension. The dictionary definition of comprehension says that it consists of a passage upon which questions are set to test the student's ability to understand the content of the given text and to infer information and meanings for it. So if you go through the dictionary meaning of comprehension, you will see that basically there is a need in comprehension. What's the need? It is the passage, which of course will be an unseen passage, and on the basis of that passage, students will be given certain questions, and you people will have to answer those questions. So why passages, unseen passages or comprehensions are there in the question paper? It's because these type of unseen passages, or this type of test helps the teacher to understand or to test the students' ability to understand the content of the given text. It actually helps to understand the ability of the student to comprehend the text. So this part of comprehension is fun for many people, but on the other side it becomes nightmare for others. So we have come across many students, we have come across many people who enjoy doing the comprehension part. Why? Because according to them, comprehension is the easiest part. But on the other hand, there are some, or there are few, who always find it very difficult to go through the comprehension part. So today I will be discussing, or I am with you to discuss the tips and tricks which of which I assure will help you all to have a very good kind of understanding, and which of course will help you to go with an errorless kind of an answer script while answering the comprehension. So before going into the tips and tricks, let's see what are the basic requirements, or what are the things or the skills that are there in comprehension. So since we all know that comprehension is something that is related to our reading skill, we will have to read the passage that is absolutely unseen, that's the passage which we have not seen before. So therefore we all need a reading skill, and we should know that reading itself is a multi-purpose skill. Why? Because reading is not anyway something which is very lonely. It is accompanied by listening, it is accompanied by speaking, writing, thinking, and of course communicating. So let's see how all of these things are there in comprehension, and how all of these things actually helps in the developing of our reading skills, and what are the basic skills that are required in developing our comprehension. First one is a scanning, next one is skimming, the third one is the exploratory reading, fourth one is reading, close reading, fifth one is the critical reading, sixth one is the analytical reading, and third one is the developmental reading. So now you might be thinking, what I am speaking of, all of these things are mere definitions. Wait for some time, wait for the tips and tricks. I will of course be telling you the tips and tricks by the end of the video, which will help you to do the comprehension very easily. But before going into the tips and tricks, let's see what are the definition of all these terms that I have been telling you so far. So what basically is scanning? Scanning is just simply reading the things rapidly. It's just a simple overview of the topic that is given to you in the question paper. And if we go to the skimming, skimming is the action of reading something quickly so as to note only the important point. Or you can say that skimming is just reading out the titles or the subtitles, or highlighting the important points that is there in your unseen passage. Now let's move to the next thing. What is exploratory reading? Exploratory reading aims at giving a very fairly accurate picture of the whole presentation. So exploratory is something that is there from the word exploration. So once we are done with the scanning and skimming part, the next one is exploratory reading. This part helps you to have a very good picture, an overall picture of what is there in your unseen passage. Next one is the close reading. What is close reading? Close reading is that part of the reading which helps the reader to get a very maximum understanding of the ideas and their relationship. So close reading will be the very next part of the exploratory reading. Since exploratory reading will help us to know what the whole paragraph is about, the close reading will help us to build the relationship among all the things that are there in the unseen passage. And now if we go to the other three parts, the critical reading, the analytical reading, and the developmental reading, we will know that critical reading is that which help us to analyze and evaluate the text, which help us to analyze what is there, which help us to think, what is there in the text. And then the developmental reading is something, it refers to the comprehensive reading program which consists of several periods or stage. So basically these are the skills that are that actually that we people should have while reading an unseen passage. But the question is, you will be sitting for an examination, and then you will have to solve not only the comprehension but also the grammatical part as well as your textual part. So reading comprehension is that part of your question paper which of course carry almost 20 marks out of the 80 marks, and is also one of the easiest one if you know how to handle it. So even though I am giving you all this definition of scanning, skimming, this critical reading, analytical reading, developmental reading, don't worry about all of these things. These things are not that much to be worried of. Why? Because I am with you to give you the tips and tricks by the end of the video. Before the tips and tricks, let's have a discussion. What are the things that are need? There is no harm in knowing the there is no harm in knowing what basically comprehension means, what are the skills that are there before knowing the tips and tricks. Of course, the tricks and tricks will help you to go through the comprehension very easily. So let's see what are the things that we have discussed so far. We have discussed about reading comprehension. So what reading comprehension is? Reading comprehension is something where you will be given an unseen passage. You will have to read that passage, and then you will have to answer the questions that are there just below the passage. So I have told you that in reading process, since reading is a very multi-purpose process, it includes listening, speaking, writing, communicating, all of these things. So reading comprehension too includes lots and lots of processes, be it the skimming part, be it the scanning part, be it a close reading, be it an interpretive reading, be it an explanatory reading or an analytical reading. These are the skills which of course are there in every reading process, but I am here to help you, to assist you, to have a very easy way of doing the comprehension. So let's see what are the important things that we need to do. What are the important things that we should keep in mind while going for a comprehension? So these are the basic things. First one is the marking of the important point. Next one is decide the basic theme. Then the rereading of the passage and form the basic argument. Keep the brain activity involved, making meaning out of data, and approach the paragraph with confidence. So these are something which are very theoretical. You have to theoretically you have to go through the passage very minutely. You have to be very confident while looking for the paragraph, while reading the paragraph. You have to mark out the important point. You have to decide the theme. So these are theoretical points, but I am here with you to give you the tips and tricks to do the paragraph with within a very small period of time, within a very short period of time, as well as it will also help you to have a very errorless kind of a comprehension. So wait for some time, because I am here with you to discuss the tricks and the tips of comprehension. So what are the tricks? The first one is read the question first. Yes, you have heard it correct. I want you to read the questions first before going into the passage. Why? Because that will help you to have a very confident kind of a reading, and then move to the passage and solve your answer. So now let's see, people, what I am speaking is that you have to have a very correct answer while going for the comprehension, as well as you have to look after your time, because your examination is always time bound. So if we go for the passage first and then we go to the questions, and we since the passage is an unseen passage, it will of course take time for us. Why? Because a simple reading, a reading for a single time will not help us to remember all the facts that are there in the passage. So I am here with you to give you the very first tip. What's the very first trick? Reading of the comprehension, reading of the questions first, and then move to the passage to solve your answer. Why? If you do this, it will help you a lot. Trust me, it really helps. Why? If you read the question, you can anyway highlight the important point that is there in the question, and then if you move to the passage, you will anyway you can actually stop, you can pause on that particular point where you have found the word that is there in the question. So it will take less time, and of course it will be a very beneficiary one. The next one is use the context clue. So that is something which is interrelated. Point 1 and point 2 is interrelated. How? We have to use the clues that are there in the question paper, that is there in the question after the passage, in order to solve our answer. We have to find out the clues, we have to highlight the point that is there, the important point that is there in the question, and then we have to move to the passage, and we have to remember the clues, the highlighted point of the question paper, and then go to the passage. That will help us to answer the question absolutely in a very correct way. Then one important thing that you should remember is that the questions that are there generally after the passage are always put in a very chronological order. So what is the meaning of the chronological order? The meaning of chronological order is that, suppose you are given 5 questions after the passage. Question number 1 of course will be from the very beginning part of the passage. Question number 2 will be somewhat after the part preceding the answer of question number 1. This is the thing that generally happens. What? The questions are always put in a very chronological order. So if you find that the questions are put in a very chronological order, you need not go repeatedly to the passage. Once you are done with the first paragraph and once you are done finding the answers of the first paragraph, you should move to the second paragraph with the next question. So that will anyway help you to have a very good kind of an understanding of the text as well as the understanding of the question. So next, look for the main idea and try to write the answer in your own word. This one is very important. Many a time people just copy paste the answer. This should not happen in comprehension. Whenever you are asked to write something, you have to put it in your own words. So putting in your own words doesn't mean you have to write a lot. You have to put it in your own words. Of course, you have to put it. You have to put the answer in a very concise way. You have to follow the instruction that is there in the questions. Many a time we find that write the question within 30 to 40 words. So you have to follow the instruction that is there in the question, and then you have to go to the main idea and write your answer in your own word. Writing your answer in the own words help a lot. That actually is a rule in comprehension. You should not just copy and paste your answer. Next one is try to replace the word with meaning and vice versa. So this is something which is very important. Why? Because we find questions that are related to vocabulary. Sometimes questions ask, can you find the synonym of the word of a word? You will be asked, can you find antonym of the word? Can you find a word which means this? The meaning of that is this. So whenever you are asked question like this, try to read the sentence where that word is popping up, where the word is there in the passage. Try to read that sentence, try to read it twice, thrice, just to find out the meaning of the word. Once you find the meaning, I assure you, you will find the answer. And it can be vice versa. Once you find the word, you can find the meaning. Once you find the meaning, you can find the word. So whenever questions related to vocabularies are there, my suggestion to you is to find the word and replace the word with its meaning that is there in the passage. Try to find out the meaning that the word is giving to the passage. Once you find the meaning, you can replace it with the word, or once you find the word, you can replace it with the meaning. So once you find the meaning, of the question of the word, you will be you will find the antonyms or the synonyms. Suppose there is a word fair in the sentence. She is a fair girl. She is a fair girl. So here the word fair is basically speaking of a beautiful or a very fair kind of complexion. So whenever you are reading the sentence, you will anyway find the meaning of the word fair. So basically such kind of thing. If you find the word, you can find the meaning, and similarly if you find the meaning, you can find the word. So let's move to the next point, that is of course for the MCQs. So while going for the MCQs, you have to go through all the options. This is very important. We should not hurry while going for the MCQs. Whenever you are having the MCQs, one plus point with you is that you have the answer with you. Even though you are given 4 options, you have the answer with you. So whenever you are attempting the MCQs in a comprehension, you have to find out the answer that is not the options that is not the answer. You will find, of course, if there are 4 options, you of course can negate 2 options out of the 4 options. Those if you negate the 2 options, you will be there with 2 options. So it will be easier for you to find the correct answer between these 2 options rather than among the 4 options. So this is my suggestion to you people, is that go for all the options first. Try to find out the meaning of the options, and then try to cancel out the options which you think will not be the answer. You will absolutely find 2 out of the 4 options which you can easily negate out. Once you are done with negating out these 2 options, you will be left with 2 options, and it is always easier to find out a correct answer between 2 rather than among So the last one is answer must be relevant and to the point. This is something which is very very important, and this is something which I guess you have known from a long period of time. You have to follow the instruction of the question. You have to point out uh, the relevant thing that is highlighted in the question. So that's why the very first point that I have given, the very first tip is very very important. Read the question first and then go to the passage. Why? Because reading the question first will help you to have reading the question first will help you to have or to highlight the important point, and that highlight, once you are done highlighting the important point of the question, it will be very easier for you to actually mm, to actually establish that point, or to actually find out those important points from the passage. And this, trust me, takes less time than reading the passage first and then going to the question part question part of the comprehension. So this is a very basic introduction of reading comprehension. uh, I will be with you with more comprehension videos. How and why? How or why? Because I want you people to connect with me, to do passages with me, to do comprehension practice with me. In my next video, I'll be with you with some comprehension passages, and of course solving the questions that are there in the passages. Thank you so much.